Coming live to you from Worthington, Ohio, the center of all knowledge on planet Earth, the Ohio Cannabis 420 report. And I'm here with Fred Hanover, and I'm Sir Alan Mooney, and this is the Cheeky About a Bong show.
We haven't done this for a while. We like Cheeky About a Bong because it gives us the chance to have a little fun about the whole cannabis industry. We've had some fun things lately we've been doing, haven't we?
We just, it's been insane. We had John Houston up and came over one morning for breakfast with his beautiful wife. I mean, they are one of the most beautiful couples, honestly,
Love them.
in
Absolutely.
politics. But I made a comment then that I bet him $50 before the first of the year that he would be running for Secretary of State and not the governor's office.
Well, he's running for lieutenant governor now.
Lieutenant governor.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Actually, that's what I said, that he would be running for lieutenant governor. He was Secretary of State.
Right.
And he said, no way, I will win this election, and was so adamant that I have to say he was more convinced of himself at that point than anybody I've ever met. So it makes you stop and takes your breath away with somebody that's that convicted. But it wasn't 30 days later, and he's announced that he's going to be the lieutenant governor for
a little bit longer than 30
July.
days, but yeah, it's taken a shift, hasn't it?
Yeah. So this thing's fluid, it's changing. We've met with several of the other politicians. Joe down there along the Ohio River, you got a lot of friends down that river. You ought to come talk to us up here on the show. We'll bring you live.
We have been talking to some people who are interested in running for governor, and it's been fun educating them on the topic of
We're looking
cannabis.
for an attorney general too.
That's correct, right.
So we need a governor, we need an attorney general, we need a
Lieutenant
governor.
Correct.
And for the Green Party right now, and we were just talking about it, one of our young associates came up with a marketing plan that you laid out of reach over there. Called,
Right. Green Finder marketing plan.
And the language is interesting, and this is Joshua Bradley. I must be hit daily with 50 or 60, it seems like, coming from everywhere, business plans for, going into marijuana in some industry level. We probably have seen 200 different business plans in the last 6 months, realistically. So we've had a lot of that. But the overall Green Finder concept is there is a new movement going on nationally about let's be green. Let's do healthy things. Let's be green in what we eat, green in our society, green in our consciousness. And certainly we're in the middle of the green rush here in Ohio.
That's the truth.
Isn't it?
It is. It is. And the interesting thing about the cannabis side of green is if you look at it from the hemp point of view, which we think should be legalized as well, it can be used for so many products, from car bodies to
Plastics.
clothing to
Plastics.
oils to, the uses are
Plastics.
incredible.
Plastics.
Biodegradable plastics.
Biodegradable to plastics.
Talk about green, right?
Talk about green, oh my gosh. So that's just one big whole subject area, and marijuana is just a little tiny part of that. But hemp's a big part of that conversation and should be probably 50% of it.
It should, because hemp has as much or maybe even more medicinal value as marijuana.
I'm bringing in right now hemp that's THC free for a lot of my friends that are in medical need, and I'm importing it, and it's legal in all 50 states. It's legal to move across the state line. It has no THC in it, but it has a high level of CBDs. For those that are suffering everything that you can imagine, this is a giant medical step forward. Dr. David Allen, the top pretty well cardiologist in the world, said this may be the most significant medical discovery in history. Ever. That's what he said, ever. Which is
Big
amazing.
time.
That's
Isn't
a
it?
big statement.
That's exactly right. So we actually here at the Ohio Cannabis Institute are really on the cutting edge of this medicinal stuff. And it's fun to be involved in it because we're seeing lives change. We're seeing people have vitality again. We're seeing people who are suffering not suffering again. It's really quite
By the way, everybody
fulfilling.
keeps asking us who you are. So if you want to send us an email and say, hey, I'm a 19-year-old college student, or I'm a 28-year-old soccer mom, or I'm a mom with the kid that has MS or cerebral palsy or whatever, or I'm an older gentleman and I've got Parkinson's disease or I've got MS, whatever your involvement is in watching this station, and you want to send us a little email about why, it will be of enormous value to us on many levels, because we've got people, literally billionaires from all over the United States, around the world right now. We've got things we're involved in California and Washington D.C. and how many of our friends are telling attention to in 2018 will be Ohio. We'll be the #1 center stage again in the whole world on this subject about cannabis. And I still find the use of the word marijuana as derogatory slang that I think is meant to injure my Hispanic friends. So as a personal conviction, I'm trying to push everybody to use some adult language here. Cannabis and hemp. If you have to say marijuana, say medical marijuana to distinguish it from everything else. Because this is now divided into about 15 different categories. We find an extraordinarily high number of people, 91% or higher of people in Ohio are registered voters are for medical marijuana. Right. Only thing is I find there's 10 different definitions for that statement.
Well, yeah, that's very true.
If you got a child suffering or a wife or someone you love, how do you feel?
I want them to be out of pain as quickly as possible.
And if I've got a teenage kid that I've just spent $200,000 putting through an Ivy League prep school or even a local state college, and I know they got $100,000 or more of college tuition debt they got to pay, I don't want my kid being picked up over smoking a joint that I'd rather he was smoking than driving the car and drinking alcohol.
Yeah, right.
But I don't want to see his whole career run and him thrown in jail and become a felon and can't vote and can't get a decent job to pay off that debt. So like most concerned parents, I don't want my kids getting in trouble unnecessarily, and I think this is a foolish law, and I think my child shouldn't be a victim of this kind of stupidity and foolish law. And if I happen to be somebody who has a loved one suffering from cancer or Crohn's or 100 other medical maladies, over 700 in the state of California were recognized before they completely moved to legalize.
Do you think everybody realizes that California's 20 years ahead of us in this?
20 years medically ahead of us. I talked a little bit about going into the doctors the other day, the pathologist or the anesthesiologist, the surgeon, my general practitioner, and a specialized doctor that overlooks everything before a big serious operation. And I had to discuss with each one of them, what is my usage, what is this, and I felt a little bit like a uncomfortably guest. Guess who's coming to dinner? Oh my God, he's black. I felt that way the other day in that conversation.
I got a question.
But it made me angry right in the middle of it, Paul.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did it make you feel like you were admitting to something that just like they were going to judge you because you used marijuana?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Without knowing anything about me, my credentials, or who I am.
Passing a quick judgment on you.
It would be one of those bigoted, prejudicial judgments that have been, the government has brainwashed the public into seeing other segments of the society as below them or filthy or causing a problem. That's government bureaucracy. That's division of us, the people. We, the people. Listen, the other day when this happened, I did turn around to each of my doctors and I said, what is your education? What's your knowledge on CBD? If you don't know what a cannabinoid is, if you don't know what the endocannabinoid system is, you may be so outdated as it may be malpractice for you to be practicing medicine in the country right now, much less in the state of Ohio. We're not a third-rate medical state. This is a first-rate medical state. We got the great Ohio State, the great Cleveland Clinic, we got great hospitals, Riverside Grant, the Mount Carmel system, we got children's hospitals. This is one of the most medically up-to-date states in the world until you get to this one subject.
Yeah, it's
true. Marijuana.
So true.
And
although the neurologists at Children's Hospital are on top of it.
Yes, and they've been on top of it for 25 years. but they've had their arms pinned behind their back. Their own medical community
Right.
would not discuss with them. And by the way, if you're an Ohio doctor, this is coming at you. This may be the most changing event in your entire lifetime getting ready to happen. I strongly recommend go take a remedial course. It's in the med books now at the Ohio State Medical School, the School of Nursing, endocannabinoid systems there. But call a fellow practitioner in California. Go out and get some CEs firsthand from a doctor in your field and let him tell you what he thinks of legalization in Colorado or California.
Absolutely. Very wise advice.
I'm going to tell you that if you're an alternative medicine practitioner, a chiropractor, a DO, a massage therapist, acupuncturist, there's 100 things that broadly covers when I'm saying it. These people are already seeing it. They're on the front lines in the war
Sure.
zone. And I haven't had one of them say that they haven't heard from a client that's talking about, don't you have that salve, that marijuana salve that you could rub into my shoulder or into my lower back? Or how do I get these things called CBDs? Do you know what they are? I think I'm low on CBDs. Have you ever heard of an endocannabinoid system and an endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome? And a lot of doctors literally, honestly look at me and
Don't
say,
know.
I don't know. But when they say it, you ought to look on their face when I challenge them back. Oh, Alan, you smoke marijuana? Oh, and you think there's something wrong with that? What do you know about a CBD? What do you know about the endocannabinoid system? I know 200 of the finest anesthesiologists in the world. I can bring them in here and have them in the operating room while I'm being operated on. And they're going to tell you they want you on CBDs. This is a difficult conversation to have. But I'm willing to have it with my physicians. I hope you're willing to have it with yours. And I think that's about as cheeky as I can get today.
That's pretty good. And from the Abong side, thank you very much for joining us. We've really enjoyed being with you, and God bless.